All right, so yesterday we got the black values completed, or at least we want to be close to completed. So if you didn't finish that last time, please make sure you complete that today before we move on to the next one. So our next plan is going to be dark gray. So that's going to be like the darkest gray you see on here. So let's hide my work and look at Jimmy again. And I know sometimes the grays all start to look the same and it can be confusing, so I totally get that. If you're ever like, oh, which gray is the gray I need? The dark gray is going to be like next to black. So I'll select a few of them now so you can see it. Like this mostly eyebrow shape here, this little sliver around the edge of his head, some of this area in the nostril and the mouth. So chances are, for some people, you may not have a lot of work to do today, and that's okay too. Though now that we're working on gray and you also have this checkered background, it could get a little confusing. So we're gonna prep the workspace a little bit, and we're gonna just put like a plain white background behind Jimmy, so that way the checkers don't mess with our eyes and make life more confusing. So I'm gonna click on the Jimmy layer, and I'm gonna add a new layer, and I'm gonna drag it below Jimmy. But right now the layer is like blank. So if I want to just fill something with white, there's a bunch of ways you could do it. I think the easiest is the paint bucket, set it to white, and then I'm just going to click on the space. So right now when you hide Jimmy, you have a big sheet of white paper underneath. So you don't have to do it. I just think it makes life a little easier. I'm also going to unlock the Jimmy layer for a minute because I think I got some little pieces I forgot. Okay, and then I'll lock him up again. All right, so let's start working on the gray portion. Do we have any questions about how to add the white background? Okie dokes, cool. So I'm gonna make sure Jimmy is selected. And what tool did I use to select like the black values yesterday? What tool did we use to select? Magic wand, thank you very much, appreciate it. So I'm not gonna do all of them, but I'm gonna do a bunch of them. Oh, too much. And again, if it gives you a hard time about selecting it, you can undo it and then try again. So I have a bunch of dark gray areas. Let's just stick with that for now. I'm not going to try and get all of them today. All right, we'll start with those. Okay, so now I'm going to hide Jimmy. I also like to hide the black layer because sometimes it's just like a lot to look at. Where should I put all my dark gray work? What layer should I do it on? A new layer, awesome. So I'm going to put it right on top, and I'm going to name it dark gray. Perfect. Now, here's the tricky part. How do you get like that exact dark gray? Do you remember what tool we can use to like find an exact color?
Grayscale.
Not for this one, but we want to pick up an exact color. Go ahead. Yep, the eyedropper, exactly. Perfect. So I'm going to use the eyedropper. I got to make sure I'm on the Jimmy layer. And I'm going to click on that dark gray layer, and it's going to pick up that exact dark gray for me. Don't try and wing it and try and come up with your own dark gray because it looks really easy, but it's really complicated. So we'll hide Jimmy again. We'll go back to our dark gray layer, and I see my dark gray and my little color picker there. Now I'll go back to my paintbrush, choose some of those words I made, and let's start filling him up with text. So I'll start working down here. All right. And if it's a little blurry, right now I'm at 300%, so that's a good reason for it to be blurry. If you feel like your text is a little bit too light, like we said, you could always click on it like 2 or 3 times, and that will give you like the ultimate color for that. So I'm just going to kind of quickly fill these areas. Now this like sliver around his head, do you think I'm really going to read any of the words in the sliver around his head? Probably not, right? But I'm still going to try and place some text near it. And as we get into these like really slim areas, I totally understand if I'm not going to read anything in there. I get it. Very normal. All right. So maybe I'll try and just finish this like eyebrow over here. And we'll be close to done. So you may have a lot of dark gray in your project. You may have very little dark gray in your project. I don't know. So this part could go really fast for you. It could go really slow. And we'll see how it turns out, which will be exciting. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. And you can see that we're starting to fill him in and get it to work. All right, I'm going to deselect for a minute so you can at least start to see where some of the stuff is filling in. I'll bring back my black layer for a minute too, and it's starting to come together. It's not going to be dramatically different from the black yet, of course, but we're getting there and it's starting to fill in his features a little bit more too, which is exciting. Okay. Do you have any questions so far about the process of the project? All right, cool. So like I said, our goal is to do one value a day. So we did black already. If you didn't finish it or you were out yesterday, just work on it today. And then we'll just keep going. All right, I'll put the steps on the board too.